Americans were dead or missing, among them the millionaire Alfred Vanderbilt. The U.S. ambassador to London telegraphed Washington that the United States must declare war or forfeit European respect. America's entry into the conflict was expected to be only a matter of time. In Germany, the press hailed the sinking as a triumph of courage, seamanship, and superior technology. The Kölnische Volkszeitung declared it a success of our submarines which must be placed beside the greatest achievement of this naval war. The Commander-in-Chief of the German High Seas Fleet sent an unprecedented message of congratulation to the U-boat commander Walter Schwieger and his crew. Crown Prince Wilhelm telegraphed his father, the Kaiser, to report the great joy the news had caused among the German troops in France. The day after the sinking, the local Irish coroner opened an inquest into the sinking in the town of Kinsale, near Queenstown. The main witness was the Lusitania's captain, William Turner, now clad in an ill-fitting borrowed suit rather than the resplendent dark blue uniform in which he had been washed off the bridge of his ship. He described how the liner had been torpedoed without warning. She had immediately taken a heavy list to starboard, and he had been unable to stop his engines. These factors had made it difficult and dangerous to launch the lifeboats in the 18 terrible minutes before the ship sank. At the end of his evidence, Captain Turner bowed his head and burst into tears. The coroner and his jury took little time to reach their verdict. It was wilful and wholesale murder by the officers of the submarine and the Emperor and government of Germany under whose orders they acted. Everything seemed clear-cut, but within minutes of the verdict came a message from the British Admiralty belatedly trying to stop the inquest and prevent the captain from giving evidence about his secret instructions. Germany had already begun to issue claims that the Lusitania had been carrying Canadian troops to Britain, that she had been armed, and that contraband ammunition loaded in New York with the connivance of the American authorities had exploded as a result of the torpedo strike, dramatically hastening her end. That Winston Churchill, the First Lord of the Admiralty, had deliberately exposed the ship with a view to bringing America into the war. The Lusitania's unsuspecting passengers, the German government alleged, had been mere human shields for hypocritical and self-serving British and American interests. Britain retaliated with a successful propaganda campaign portraying the Germans, and the Kaiser in particular, as ravening, barbaric Huns rejoicing in dead babies and the latest achievements of German frightfulness at sea. The British and American press linked the sinking to the German army's first use just a few days earlier on the Western Front of a new scientific torture, poison gas. The German government began to imply that the sinking of the Lusitania had been a matter of chance, and that the U-boat commander had not even identified his target when he unleashed his torpedo. The Kaiser was deeply wounded by anti-German comment in the world's press. Under pressure from America and from his own civilian ministers, he ordered a cessation in Germany's campaign of unrestricted submarine warfare. Admiral Alfred von Tirpitz, the father of the German Navy, complained that by abandoning his cherished campaign, Germany had lost her best chance of winning the war, and submitted his resignation. The United States remained neutral, and the Kaiser now told the American ambassador that he would not have permitted the torpedoing had he known about it in advance. No gentleman, he said, would kill so many women and children. Official hearings into the sinking were held in Britain and later in America after she entered the war in 1917, following Germany's resumption of unrestricted submarine warfare. Both governments worried that the finger of accusation might point in directions other than Germany's. Therefore, they steered the hearings away from sensitive issues. As a result, many questions were not fully answered. Why was a tragedy so clearly signalled and widely anticipated allowed to happen? Why did the British Navy not provide the Lusitania with an escort?